ready to play, and he's going to treat New England. It's Tom Brady still at the helm.
Definitely. Next game is the Las Vegas Raiders, another team changing locations after the year. This game is at home again, so you got back-to-back home games for the Chiefs. Week 5 here, Las Vegas Raiders. What are your thoughts here?
Thinking about when I was saying changing fan bases. It's the Raiders. I mean, you hate these guys. You absolutely hate these guys.
How did you feel about them before you got to the Chiefs?
You still don't like. I mean, it's there were 31 teams I wanted to play for. If it would have been the Raiders, I would have had to decide if I wanted to play football or choose a different occupation. If it came down to signing with the Raiders, I mean, it's just not a team I would have wanted to be a part of. But because you just hate them, you hate them. And they live up to it. And you love it. Right? They live up to that persona as being the nasty, gritty Raiders. And I remember I had one teammate who compared playing the Raiders to like going into a first century Coliseum and as a gladiator, and fighting and something like that. So those games are always a lot of fun. But when you look at Kansas City, outside of Baltimore, how are you going to slow these guys down? I don't care if you put them in Las Vegas, you put them in Europe, you put them in China. It don't matter. Kansas City, there's just no slowing them down. And the fact that it's the Raiders, it's your rival, you hate them more than anybody else in the division. As long as Kansas City isn't asleep at the wheel, I just don't see any matchup difficulties. I mean, across the board, I think you're the better team here. So yeah, Derek Carr's still got to prove himself. You've seen some stuff from the offseason that they might not be totally in on Carr, and so yeah, I'm not too worried about this one.
I'm going to have to kind of agree with that too. You can see we have the graphic up for the last 3 games. I mean, the smallest margin of victory is 18. One thing it is the division game. Like I said before with the Chargers, Andy Reid takes care of the division. However it is, he did it in Philly. He does it here in KC. He takes care of the division. And then, like you said, the uncertainty with the Raiders, with Derek Carr, whether or not they really feel like he's actually their guy going forward or whatever. It'll be Gruden's. It's his 3rd year, right?
Yeah,
3rd year with Gruden. So this is kind of the
in Death Star, Starship, or whatever the Star Trek or Star Wars.
But this game's at home, though, right?
No, I'm saying, but
this is the home game, yeah.
But this is a big year for Gruden.
I would say even and we'll have at Vegas later in a few weeks. But I'd say both of them at this point. I can't pick the Raiders to win. Like you said, as far as matchups and stuff go, can't see it. I've seen those last 3 games we're looking at. I see Derek Carr just kind of fall apart when we're playing against them, especially when they get behind. So I mean, I got the Chiefs winning this one too. It's so easy to pick the Chiefs to win like every single game, so I'm trying not to fall in that trap. But I really do not see the Raiders winning this game.
The NFL season's tough, right? You're always going to come across bumps in the road. There'll be injuries. There'll be different things that go on.
Yep.
There's those games where you come out slow, you come out sloppy. One of your faces isn't playing well, and so it's hard to account for those games. They're going to pop up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But just when you're just looking at this theoretically, looking at rosters and comparing week to week, I mean, you have to, outside of Baltimore, you have to give them the more than just the edge. I mean, they're just the more dominant team in 90% of these matchups. So I don't know how outside of just, a team can't possibly go 16-0, so you got to throw a loss in there somewhere. Yep. I mean, where do you put the loss,
Oh, I'll say this. I'm actually exactly what you're talking about is why, like, the next game we have coming up is October 15th. So it's a short turnaround, and we play Buffalo at Buffalo. I'm actually going to go ahead and pick I'll go ahead and say Buffalo beats us there. Playoff team on the road. And because we're not going to go 15-1, no matter how I look at this, or 14-2, we're going to have another road loss. Buffalo, actually, if you're looking to say, hey, where are the Chiefs going to go? If you really feel like the Chiefs are going to go 12-4 or 13-3, where's going to be that third loss, that fourth loss? At Buffalo is a good pick, just because really a good coaching staff, winning team, really good defense. So I'll go ahead and say the Chiefs somehow do not win in Buffalo. And you know what? I'm not even convincing myself, honestly, but I'm going to go ahead and say Buffalo wins this game, because it's not. If it was like November, December, super cold, terrible weather, easier to pick Buffalo. But I'll go ahead and say Buffalo wins this game. I mean, I don't know.
Well, and it's I think the third of the 5 primetime games this year too. And Mike, it looks like the last time they met head to head was in 2017. You were with them in 2014 and 15. 2 victories to the Chiefs there whenever you were on the team. So congratulations there.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. And when you look at the game, it's on Thursday night in October. So it's going to be cold.
Yeah, it'll be cold.
This will be their first. It's going to be cold there, guys. I mean, it's no joke. That's I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the 40s or 30s up there at that point in time. So it'll be a challenge for them. It'll probably be the first time they have to deal with cold weather. And that team's built a lot like the teams that I played with in the Jets that we were good, 2009, 2010. Very gritty, good defense, not going to make a ton of mistakes, can run the football. And so yeah, I'm with you. I agree. Again, I still think Kansas City's the better team. I'm going to give them the win. But if there's a game outside of Baltimore that's another, they say, okay, this could be a W or it could be an L. This wouldn't be one of those ones I'd be shocked if they went up there and lost that game.
Yeah, as a player, how when you get your opponents, like the Chiefs knew months ago that they had to go to Buffalo. How excited would you have been when you got the schedule and saw this game was in October and not December?
So I like the cold weather. That's why I live up here.
Yeah,
so I would have been excited to have it February 1st. But yeah, no. I mean, especially for a team like Kansas City, they're so speed oriented. You want those guys firing on all cylinders. You don't want Tyreek Hill worried about getting cold in his hammies or anything like that. I mean, you want those guys moving 100 miles an hour. So certainly you're going to want to play Buffalo earlier in the season. That way you don't have to deal with those elements. But as a big guy, especially at 320 pounds when I was out there, I wouldn't have mind having that bad boy in December at night.
Yeah. Then the Chiefs come home. They have about 10 days, kind of the mini bye, and then go to Denver, another division game, division rival, second-year quarterback, Drew Lock, who is a Kansas City guy, grew up here and went to Lee Summit High School. And so what's your take on this Broncos game? First meeting with the Broncos this season.
I guess I'm not sure. Maybe I haven't followed them as much as I should have. I'm not sure what to think of the Broncos. I don't know. Every year I seem to get them wrong. I think the past couple of years I thought they were going to be better than they were. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what to make of them. I know they lost their center to New York, who's obviously a key piece in that offensive line. So you look at that when you have a young quarterback, to lose his center like that, that hurts. But I'm not as familiar with them as far as I don't know what kind of team they have. So it's a divisional game. You obviously got to be ready to get their best shot. But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I'm not quite sure what Denver is.
They did add another piece from Mizzou, one of Drew Lock's receivers. I can't remember who it was.
They drafted a tight end.
Yeah, tight end
from Mizzou.
So that'll make Drew feel really comfortable. I think Drew Lock's going to be a great quarterback and have a great career too.
Yeah, but again, though, he's not going to have that opportunity to work with his guy until. Now these games are talking more middle of the season, so these teams have been used to each other, or be used to playing with each other by this point. But it could be a little bit of a rocky start just because he hasn't had time to get his communication, to get his timing right with his guys. But no, I mean, I have heard people say good things about Locke. I need to follow Denver more closely. It is one of those teams I seem to not care very much about.
Yeah, I I didn't follow them much, but with Drew Lock, the head coach that I work for currently at Shawnee Mission East, he's a quarterback guy, and he's been Drew Lock's quarterback coach since he was coming out of elementary school. So obviously I hear a lot about, Denver and kind of what's going on when we talk. And so, them adding Jerry Jeudy from Alabama, Lock's excited about that. But, you're right. He hasn't been able to work with his receivers. He's still working on his throwing and all those things. But absolutely not being able to work with his guys is going to be a tough obstacle to overcome.
And their offensive line has been spotty too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't. Yeah. They've struggled up front, and they lost their center, which pretty sure he was a really good player. So when you have a young quarterback who hasn't been around his guys, and now you've got that offensive line that's a little bit spotty up front, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Definitely.
So I'm picking. Yeah, obviously. So I'm going. Plus, one reason I'm going to pick Chiefs get a W here is Andy Reid gets it's 10 days between games. So I'm going to say W for Chiefs on this one.
Yeah, and a team he's going to be familiar with.
And a division game. So
then the Chiefs get your other former team, the New York Jets, here in Kansas City. Do you still follow the Jets and kind of know what's going on with them?
Yeah, I do. If I have my two loves are Kansas City and New York, and so blessed to play for both organizations. And I like their draft pick, that offensive tackle that they got from Louisville. Yeah, you guys know it. Left tackle, outside of quarterback, left tackle is the most important position on the offense, and so to get that big guy in there to set the tone. He's a mauler. I'm skipping on his name right now, but he's a mauler and athletic, big guy. So to have that guy in there to protect Sam Darnold, that's huge. You're getting Le'Veon Bell back. You got an defense that I watched on film this offseason, and you might not have some stellar name. Obviously, you have C.J. Mosley, you have guys like that, but they're really aggressive and violent, and they play the game violent. It's something I didn't recognize during the season last year that I didn't pick up on until I watched them in the offseason, is how explosive and violent they are up front. And so certainly a Greg Williams defense there. And you're getting C.J. Mosley back healthy. You're getting the other linebacker back healthy, Avery. And so I think New York could have a good year. Now, they're coming out to Arrowhead. And so never easy playing out there on the road in Arrowhead. So it depends on how Sam Darnold's doing. Obviously, he's the key. And you talk to anybody in New York, and he's their franchise guy. Everybody really has a lot of confidence in him to make the plays, and they put some more weapons around him. So it's all about how's his confidence. Is he playing at the highest level possible that they think he's capable of? In New York, it's really difficult. It's not an easy place to be a quarterback, as you guys know, because you get down one game and that fan base is going to be on you. They hold you to a high standard, and if you're an emotional guy, you're a guy that can't handle the criticism, New York is hell on wheels. And so we'll see, because this is, I believe, Sam Darnold's third season at the helm. He's going to have to start producing, and it's not going to be, well, he doesn't have the weapons. He better start producing, or that fan base, that organization, they're going to get frustrated quick. And is he going to be able to handle that mentally? Another question to ask.
I would have to say probably, and you would know for sure, pretty similar fan bases, right? Working class kind of guy in New York, and with the Jets and the Chiefs, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think they are similar in that sense. Very tough, hardworking, blue-collar fan bases, no question. I think the difference is Kansas City will give you a little bit more grace. Kansas City is going to root you on, going to cheer you on, and even when you get down, they're going to still be there to support you. In New York, I'm a New Yorker. My family's New Yorker, so I get it. There's not a lot of patience for bad football. So they're gonna give it to you. They're gonna give it to you quick. If you're not, I remember times playing in New York where we would get down a touchdown and the stands would be booing us. Already, the fans would be booing us. So New York is a tough place to play. It's a great fan base, some of the best people I've ever been around. But they're New Yorkers, and they're gonna give it to you when they're not afraid to express when they're disappointed. And so that's why it takes a special person to be a quarterback in New York, to have all that pressure